Neville Goddard, Feeling is the Secret, Chapter 2, Sleep. Sleep, the life that occupies 1/3 of our stay on Earth, is the natural door into the subconscious. So it is with sleep that we are now concerned. The conscious 2/3 of our life on Earth is measured by the degree of attention we give sleep. Our understanding of and delight in what sleep has to bestow will cause us, night after night, to set out for it as though we were keeping an appointment with a lover. In a dream, in a vision of the night, when the deep sleep falls upon men in slumbering upon the bed, then he opened the ears of men and seals their instruction. Job 33. It is in sleep and in prayer, a state akin to sleep, that man enters the subconscious to make his impressions and receive his instructions. In these states, the conscious and subconscious are creatively joined. Male and female become one flesh. Sleep is the time when the male or conscious mind turns from the world of sense to seek its lover or subconscious self. The subconscious, unlike the woman of the world, loves the conscious mind as it is and faithfully reproduces its likeness in the outer world of form. I don't like that part because I feel like Neville is making a very large assumption about women. Yeah, anyways, I'm going to skip over that limiting belief by Neville Goddard. The conditions and events of your life are your children, formed from the molds of your subconscious impressions in sleep. They are made in the image and likeness of your innermost feeling, that they may reveal you to yourself. As in heaven, so on earth. As in the subconscious, so on earth. Whatever you have in consciousness as you go to sleep is the measure of your expression in the waking 2/3 of your life on earth. Nothing stops you from realizing your objective, except your failure to realize that you are already that which you wish to be, or that you are already in possession of the things sought. Your subconscious gives form to your desires only when you feel your wish fulfilled. The unconsciousness of sleep is the normal state of subconscious, because all things come from within yourself, and your conception of yourself determines that which comes. You should always feel the wish fulfilled before you drop off to sleep. You never draw out of the deep of yourself that which you want. You draw out that which you are, and you are that which you feel yourself to be, as well as that which you feel as true of others. So this is really important. We think that the outer world is operating on its own, but actually it's just operating the way we expect it to operate. Everything is coming out of your pure consciousness and your expectations. So, Neville Goddard is saying here, you don't get what you desire, you get what you are being. And that's true, but you can also desire something and manifest it pretty soon because you don't have resistance to it. So that's not always true. You can desire something and manifest it. It just depends how close you feel to that desire. So to be realized then, the wish must be resolved into the feeling of being or having or witnessing the state sought. This is accomplished by assuming the feeling of the wish fulfilled. So as you're listening to this, I encourage you to think of one thing or a list of things that you are manifesting and feel that you are already in possession of these things. This is already the way it just is for you. This is just your life now. Okay? Assume it, put it on, and be it as you listen to this. The feeling which comes in response to the question, how would I feel were my wish realized, is the feeling which should monopolize and immobilize your attention as you relax and asleep. You must be in the consciousness of being or having that which you want to be or to have before you drop off to sleep. Once asleep, humans have no freedom of choice. Your entire slumber is dominated by your last waking concept of self. It follows, therefore, that you should always assume the feeling of accomplishment and satisfaction before you retire in sleep. Come before me with singing and thanksgiving. Enter into his gates with thanksgiving, and into his courts with praise. So before you go to sleep, feel gratitude that you already have what you are manifesting. Feel gratitude that your world is already the way you would like it to be. And you can be as general with this or as specific as you like. Abraham Hicks talks about going specific only when you release resistance. So if you have resistance around something, first start off by going general. So being general is saying things like, I'm really happy with my life. I feel wonderful. I feel excited to start every new day. I savor the moment every single day. I appreciate my mornings. I appreciate my afternoons. I appreciate my evenings. I appreciate my sleep. I appreciate my nighttime, etc., etc. You appreciate all the little things about your day. That is a way of going general, but that general satisfaction, that overall good feeling, that will also manifest the things that you want. Because when you have the things you want, you feel overall good, wonderful. You feel like you savor your life because your life feels so good. It's all about savoring and being present in my experience, because the more I enjoy the present moment, the more things can come in effortlessly. I'm relaxing because I know I already have it, and I know that everything is on my side. My world is on my side, God is on my side, and I am on my side, and people are on my side. I put myself in that state of being, and therefore I experience things that match it. So always put yourself in that gratitude before you go to sleep, that everything you want is coming to you on its way, already here. Life is wonderful because life is wonderful. Because life is wonderful. Because the clouds are cumulus, and the sky is blue, and the sun rises every day, and the flowers are blooming, and the trees are starting to turn green again because it's spring. So you can always find things to appreciate, right? What can you appreciate? I can appreciate the breath in my lungs. I can appreciate that I massaged my meridian points, and I released the fascia, and it created space in my body. And I went to yoga, and I had a wonderful, delicious yoga class, and my body received healing and openness and all that my body needed to receive. It received it from the yoga class. I am a self-healing mechanism. I am, doing intermittent fasting right now for healing purposes of my right foot. And I am healing my body naturally with everything that God has already given me. I'm putting healthy foods in my body. I'm grateful for the delicious salad that I made. I'm grateful for the delicious, healthy tea that I have. I am amazing. I am wonderful. I am all full of good things. I love the bees. I love the bugs. I love the trees. I love the plants. I love the clouds. I love the sky. I love the sun. I love the people. I love the gym. I love the dance classes. I love the yoga classes. I love this book. I love this YouTube channel. I love these YouTube videos. I love thinking about manifesting. I love thinking about how grateful I am. I love thinking about how great God is. I love thinking about how vast the universe is. I love thinking about how planet Earth is rotating in the middle of space in a solar system around a huge giant ball of fire. What on earth? That is insane. I love thinking about how expansive space is. I love thinking about black holes and how amazing they are. I love thinking about how people are going into space. I love thinking about people going to Mars. I love thinking about people going to the moon. I love thinking about how amazing that is, how expansive that expands my mind. I love thinking about how good walnuts are for your brain. Random things. Like, I love thinking about how certain foods are good for certain parts of the body. I love thinking about how certain massage techniques are good for certain organs. I love thinking about the nervous system. I love thinking about my fascia. I love thinking about how I can think anything I want. I love thinking about how powerful I am to choose my thoughts. I love thinking about how powerful I am to choose my emotions. I love thinking about how wonderful it is to just go for a beautiful hike in nature. I love thinking about putting my hands in the dirt and planting something and feeling the dirt on my skin and how natural that feels, that I am a part of the earth. You know? You can go on and on. Appreciating. So this is the way to discover and conduct your wishes into the subconscious. Feel yourself in the state of the realized wish and quietly drop off to sleep. Night after night, you should assume the feeling of being, having, and witnessing that which you seek to be, possess, and to see manifested. Never go to sleep feeling discouraged or dissatisfied. Never sleep in the consciousness of failure. And also, I want to say about this, when we're manifesting, like you're imagining these things, you're going on this positive rampage of what you appreciate. When we're doing this, we're not like expecting the 3D to just like morph instantly, although it totally can if you are really in your pure consciousness and you're like step back far enough from your physical reality and you're in your spirit. You really can change things instantly, and that is like definitely a huge growth area for most people when it comes to manifestation. And that's why I focus on manifestation from pure consciousness. So if you're interested in that, that's what I teach in my high-level programs. So manifesting from pure consciousness is totally possible to create instant manifestation if you are far enough back in your consciousness and out of your circumstances. You got to get your mind out of the world, out of your circumstances, and into your pure consciousness, into your spirit. From there, you really can instant manifest. But most of the time, humans are in their mind, in their world, in their circumstances. So, you know, it's like do the best you can with where you're at. Like maybe just going on this positive rampage of feeling gratitude for everything you already have. That's enough to create a shift. It may shift a bit later, tomorrow, the next day, next week. You never know, but it can come in, later. But if you really are creating instant manifestation, it just takes a really intense level of focus from your pure consciousness, which is behind the mind, right? Ramana Maharshi says, who is thinking? Who is watching your thoughts? What is watching you think? Right? Can you go that far back into your being? Who is thinking? Where are your thoughts coming from? Okay, that spaceless space, that formless space, that's infinite. And that's where I went when I my first spiritual awakening in 2009. In the middle of an Ashtanga yoga class, I had no idea what happened, but basically the whole physical world disappeared and there was infinite space, infinite nothingness. No me, no body, no thoughts, nothing. I'm telling you, infinite nothingness, okay? And then my mind came back in and it wanted to be Jenny, so it wanted to be a human. It wanted to come back to the world of form, so she grounded herself and she said, no, I am Jenny. I'm in this yoga class. That's my friend over there. That's the yoga teacher. This is the room. And she grounded herself back in the physical reality. I don't know how. It just happened. So that, was me coming, maybe it had something to do with me coming out of being a swimmer, a full-time swimmer, where I was always looking at the bottom of a pool, and that's kind of silence and stillness with yourself. And then going straight from that to yoga, like my body was so trained, like I had a very high, metabolism, and I was always swimming, I was always working out. There was a lot of energy moving, and I think there's something to that when it comes to spiritual awakening. That, my dad used to run marathons. He ran 16 marathons, and he was an Olympic swim coach, and he had world record holders. And anyways, but my dad used to run marathons, and he would tell me that sometimes he would watch himself run, like he was out of his body running. So there's definitely something to exercise and spiritual awakening. But I went from being a full-time swimmer to all of a sudden going to yoga. I would go to yoga twice a day because I was so used to exercising all the time. One yoga class a day wasn't enough for me. So I would go to one in the morning, one in the afternoon, because I had like a membership at this yoga studio. So I could go to as many classes as I wanted. And so I started doing that. And then one of the classes I went to, my first Ashtanga yoga class, that's what happened to me. The whole physical world completely disappeared, and there was infinite space. Nothing. And that, what grounded me back in the physical reality? My thoughts. So from space plus thought equals form, right? And that's what I experienced, and that's what I saw. So if you're just manifesting from the thought and form, it's more difficult. If you're going to go all the way back into your space, your infinite space, it's much easier. Okay? And I call it pure consciousness. I call it spirit. It is infinite space within. I think it's like you could say it's the universe inside of you. I think we could also say it's God within us, but I don't know. I also think God has more of a even deeper meaning than just the universe or just the space. But, no one knows really. So no one really knows exactly what God is. The Bible gives us some clues, but God is still a mystery. So I think it's getting closer, that formless awareness, that formless infinite intelligence is God. To the best of my ability, I could say that. But I also have this feeling that God is even deeper than that somehow. Because God created the whole billions of galaxies with one thought. So if God, how are we made to think? Like if the Bible says we're made in the image of God, which means we have that power to create with one thought as well. But most people don't step into their God consciousness before they start creating. They're just in their mind and in their world. And so that's what I'm teaching you, is how to create from your pure consciousness, because you have way more dominion there. You have way more authority. You have way more power there than if you're just manifesting from your mind or from the world. But you need pure consciousness plus your mind. Okay? So pure consciousness plus your mind, thought plus imagining, it's all kind of one. The mind is imagination, it is feeling, it is sensation, it is visualization. It's all one thing with, different parts of it. So that's what happened to me. That's what turned me into a spiritual seeker. That was in 2009. It's now 2025. I started my business 2017. Before that, I studied Buddhist psychology, then Jungian psychology, then started my own business. So, manifestation has always been a strength of mine. Even before my spiritual awakening, I remember I was in a swimming race, and I decided I would just say the time I wanted to go, the whole race, just the one time. It was 100 backstroke, I think, and I said 57:13, 57:10, I don't know, something like that. Down to the 10th, okay, that I wanted to go for 100 backstroke, 100 yards, okay? And I wanted to go 57, I think, or 51.7, no, 57, I don't remember, y'all. I don't remember the times, but I said the number in my head the whole race, and that was the only thought I allowed myself to think the whole race. Like, even when my mind tried to think of something else, no, I wouldn't let it. I only had that one thought. I repeated it over and over, like a mantra, right? That's what mantras are. I just said that one thought I wanted to go, and I touched the wall, and I look up at the scoreboard, and guess what it said? To the 10th, 57.10 or whatever it was. And I went the time I wanted to go. So, I always knew there was something to manifestation. That was in high school, y'all. I've always been into this. I always knew there was something to mind over matter. And also, a lot of coaches don't realize that they coach too from their experience of growing up with their parents. Like, I coach based on what I learned from my parents. And they were people who always said mind over matter. So it makes sense that I'm a manifestation coach. My gifts plus my upbringing turned me into this. So anyways, yeah, mind over matter. Okay, and athletics definitely teaches you that. All right, any athletes know your mind in the middle of a race, it matters what you think about. It matters when it comes down to it, where you got just 1 minute to do your fastest time in a race. You betcha it matters what you think about, right? And it's a concentrated 1 minute where you're going as fast as you can. And that's like, what we're trying to create in manifestation in our lives to create a specific outcome, but we don't have as much focus and intensity with it. Because we're relaxed, we're laid back, we're like, well, if it comes, great, if it not, whatever. But like, if you're in a race and you're an athlete, if you're running or if you're swimming or whatever kind of athlete you are, it matters what you think about in that one race, okay? You better only have positive thoughts for the most part. There's no room, there's no time to think other than your goal, okay? There is no time to think in opposition to what you are creating because you're in the middle of a race. Okay, so I'm going to pause here. We haven't even got through the whole chapter, but I think that's enough information for this one video. Do your positive, rampage, your gratitude rampage before you go to sleep, and really just multiple times throughout the day. Really, this is about living manifestation. Always thinking positively as often as you can. Of course, we're not denying reality. Like, you have to also bring the unconscious to consciousness. You do also have to heal certain things in your psyche that will create space for you to think more positively. So definitely there are multiple facets to creating your reality. Okay? All right, y'all. And I hope you enjoyed this, and I pray that you are focused this week. Please focus your thoughts. You are in control of your thoughts. Focus them. Focus. Be disciplined in your thoughts. Don't allow your mind to go to negative places. You are in control of it. And like I said, you have more control if you actually spend time behind it in your pure consciousness, which Vipassana meditation was one of the ways too. After my yoga awakening, I started doing Vipassana meditation. I've done many meditation retreats. Meditation is a very good practice to get behind the mind so you can watch it. Vipassana is just sitting, watching your mind do its thing, but you're not interacting with it and you're not controlling it. You're just watching it. And that gives you power to then later change it. Okay? All right, y'all. I'll see you again in the next video, and stay focused. Be disciplined.